But I will tell you, yes, it should have never happened. And I kept asking myself, why would the Black Hawk be even flying near the airport during this time when it's what Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, said was on a training mission of sorts. And obviously there was a lot of miscues. They need the investigations to go through. I think you definitely sense the anger, the frustration coming out of President Trump and these cabinet members. And as you're digging deeper, I think some of the news reports that have come out, New York Times basically saying that staffing before this D.C. crash happened, staffing was not normal. You had only one person doing the job of two people. We know this has been coming for quite some time because so many of these air traffic controllers are basically retiring, getting older. And when you have President Obama during his administration changing the hiring process, basically putting in tests which was focused more on applicants with lower aptitude in science instead of giving the job to an applicant who had scored excellent, I mean, in these tests, it's very problematic. It got to the point that I think the standards were much lower for these air traffic controllers. I'm not saying that that's the only reason why this could have happened with this plane crash. I think that there's significant other factors involved. But this is an opportunity to reevaluate and say, how do we raise these standards in the FAA? How do we make sure that you don't have training missions happening right by a flight path, which makes absolutely no sense?
Yeah, for commercial airliners at night in Washington, D.C., no less, you imagine what's going on in the rest of the country. President Trump ruffled a few feathers today, taking shots at the previous Biden administration, the Obama administrations, for lowering America's aviation standards, saying that they put policy, left-wing policy, over public safety.
I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that. Only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence. And we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first.
Now, President Trump also showed up with the receipts talking about this, reading a story about the Biden administration's diversity, equity, and inclusion push, hiring individuals with disabilities.
I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so.
Now, Tiana, I know that you've been looking at this all day, and there are a lot of extraordinary and extraordinarily concerning things that first the Obama administration, Trump undid it, then the Biden administration came back with their DEI.
And remember, the bigger issue here is not that the air traffic controllers on duty were less competent. It's that they were understaffed, and this specific tower has been about a third below the 30-person staffing target for years now. Now, look, what Mercy was talking about, that 2013 measure where you moved away from this program that intentionally said you got to either get a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree, so it's more affordable, and it's all just based on aptitude, skills, how you test, replacing that with the behavioral quiz.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.